Being here, a good win, and we're focusing on the next challenge, which will be the Jets on Sunday. Very important game again, and opportunity to get above 500 and keep in the hunt for the division title. We're getting behind there. That's the big picture, but the focus is on preparing for the next game. What question do you have?
John, as far as injury-wise, did you guys come out of this game okay?
We looked pretty good. We had an issue after the game. Keon Martin had to stay in Cleveland with they were looking at a chest injury. Looks like he's okay. Had a bunch of testing there in the hospital last night. All came out negative, in a good way, and he's back now. So we'll see how that kind of progresses in the next 24 hours.
John, is your sense that Marlon Humphrey is available this week? Possibly, you said a week too, based on if he did have the surgery.
Yeah, optimistic about that right now, Bo.
Is that something where you would play with that? We saw that wrap on him.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm sure that's some protection for it, probably.
John, when you went back and looked at the red zone possessions where you ended up having to take field goals, what were the combination of things that you saw that didn't work as well as they should have?
Right, yeah, we just, a lot of different things. I mean, each play's a little bit different. Some plays could have been executed better. Some plays, they did a great job of defending, tried to run it a couple times, but we didn't get it in. But bigger picture is, that's an important part of the field for us. We want to score touchdowns down there, You at least want to protect the three as well. We didn't do that one time with a kind of a fluky play. But we need to score touchdowns down there. It's going to definitely continue to be a point of emphasis. It has been. And we want to be more successful down in the red zone for sure.
John, what are some of the things that you pinpointed that you can do to try to help improve in that area?
What was that?
What are some of the things that you pinpointed already that you guys can do to try to improve?
I can't, because some of the things we can what?
Do to improve in that area?
We can execute better. We can call better plays. We can make plays.
Coach, when you go back and look at what Myles Garrett did, you knew that he was going to come in and try and wreck the game. Was there different things that you guys could have done maybe as the game went on to try and limit, the way he was getting to
We
the
did about
quarterback?
everything you can do. We tried about everything you can do, and we blocked him a number of times. That's the kind of defense really that you want to try to hit big plays on. That's really the way they're organized. We hit some big plays. The red zone is probably the biggest thing. If we could have got the job done down there a little better, we had a big scoring game. But it's always going to be that way when you play that defense, because they do a good job of creating chaos, and then especially him. So that goes with him.
John, Chris Horton last week was talking to us about the idea of decision making on the punt returns, and the one Wester return kind of backing up fielder, and I think the two, and then on the wind blown muff. What do you say to him? Did you tell him later in the game, hey, be careful, let those drop in the wind like this, or what do you say to him?
Well, no, everyone's different, So the one that's tailing away from him, that's you're on the run there. He definitely knows he doesn't want to catch that one. That's hopefully a learning experience. It's been probably his first game playing in those kind of conditions with that kind of wind, and AFC North type of a stadium. To experience that with that kind of a cutter ball, it's a left-footed punter, the ball's cutting away from him. That's probably one of the most challenging, especially that end of that stadium. Really challenging ball. That's one you definitely want to get away from. And so he'll learn from that, I'm sure. He did, as the game went on. He let another one get on the ground, which was good. Backing up like that, I think he lost track of where he was at. Probably would have rather had him just let it go in the end zone. But there are times when we don't always make a hard and fast. The old 10-yard line rule. Those days have changed a little bit because, heck, the ball comes out to the 8 and roll down to the 1. That's not good. Or sometimes, there's nobody near you, and you've seen some long returns happen because it's a line drive and there's a lot of space, and you don't mind backing up and returning some of those. We've had those over the years, all these years that we've been doing it. You don't want to hard and fast too much, but you do want to have principles built around the rule, And, you know, he's learning, you know, he's a rookie, and I think he's really accountable, and nobody works harder. I tell you, he works hard in practice every single day, and he's very coachable, so I think he's gonna continue to grow that way.
John, you know, for ever since Lamar's been here, you know, his running ability has been a big part of this offense. This year, I think his rushing yards per game is probably the lowest he's been there. Is there a reason for that? Have you guys made a conscious decision not to call as many quarterbacks? Why do you think he hasn't been running as much as he has in the
I
past?
was happy with some of the runs yesterday. He got out of the pocket a few times when we really needed him to. He got us some yards and he saved us a couple times. I thought he also, I give him a lot of credit because he was under duress a few times where, you know, in that kind of a game, he made some decisions too to protect the football, which was big. So I thought he played a really smart game that way. We had some quarterback runs called. They took away the quarterback a number of times. You know, I wasn't going to let him run either. So
I know, but for overall for the
I
season,
don't really have an answer for that.
Okay.
You know, it's not required. You know, Lamar, next thing you know, Lamar will break out and run for 100 yards. You know, so that's always, and sure, defenses have got to consider that as a possibility, and that's a good thing for us.
John, how much has you guys have been banged up on and off in the secondary, how much is Uze really, his ability to kind of step in and keep things going and just play sound football? How important has that been for that group?
I think very important, Jeff. I mean, I told Eric on the plane last night, I think that might be his most underrated signing. You know, it's just really been a big signing for us, and he's done great. And we knew he was a good player. We've seen him over the years. I'd say even better than advertised. You know, he's played really good football. Had a heck of a game.
People use the expression teaching tape all the time, but how he kept working through the ball in the end zone there. Is that kind of an example of what you try to preach?
It was a great play. Yeah, the ability to not panic. You know, when you're playing the ball downfield like that, especially if you're back to the ball, chasing a fake route. That's probably the toughest thing a corner has to do, and to play it in a way that you get into the catch cylinder, we call it, in front of the receiver, and affect the hands, affect the ball, find the ball, play the ball, not hinder the receiver in too much of a way where he get called for interference or anything like that. You know, he's really done well with that. I think a lot of our guys have. I think our coaches do a great job teaching that, and he's had some training tape, to your point, you know, with that kind of technique.
John, I know we spoke about Keon Martin at the beginning. I mean, how important, just at his on-field play, how has that been, especially when he's been able to step in and play corner as well?
Yeah, he did great. I mean, he did great at sack. You know, he had a couple good coverages, had a batted ball. I thought he played really well, played well on special teams. He has been playing well on special teams. Done a really good job.
John, you know, Mark Andrews' play sounded like, talking to some guys last night, that you know, kind of came up just during the week. I know you talked about it last night. A couple things. Was that born kind of out of that toss to Lamar at all that you guys had run the previous week, and sort of, I guess I'm trying to get to kind of the root of how you guys sort of came up with that plan.
We're going to do a historical biography on the game planning process of a play. You know, how did it happen? It happened like all plays happen. You know, it was. I think that's, you know, you look at the quarterback sneak and people going to great lengths to get that stop. We've run a number of tush pushes over the last 3 or 4 years, the sneaks with Mark, and you know, at some point in time it gets to the extent where they just take the play away. You've got to have an answer. You've got to have a counterpunch, and those 2 plays have been in the hopper for a few weeks, maybe a month, maybe more, maybe a little more, and just kind of been designed and stuff like that, and trying to figure it out. And yeah, it's part of it. It's just not one thing. It's all the different plays that everybody talks about. So we started working on that one. Like 2 weeks ago, we started working on it a little bit, and then this week we got a bunch of reps in practice on it, and that was it. Had a chance to call
How much did it, with Lamar and Derek going that direction, how much does that obviously drive the or help?
Well, I mean, yeah, you saw Hickman, you know, went that way with it. He was probably responsible for Lamar in there, and then the corner on the backside that pulled and held him, so that kept the pursuit away a little bit. You know, and you look at what happened with Schlesinger. You know, he's a heck of a player. Man, this guy, wow, this guy's all over the field. You know, what a great pick those guys made there. we loved him too, you know? And, he probably would've made a play, except Charlie pinned his guy in and got up and got a piece of him there too, which was really heads up play by Charlie. Excellent play by Charlie, to get that block, that's probably made the difference, and Mark obviously ran really fast. So, that was it, and, you know, it was a big play. I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be one of those iconic plays, I think, you know, you look at, one thing about it that's kind of interesting, you know, you guys have covered the Ravens and stuff. You look at all these games in Cleveland over the years, you know, down 20-0 in the first quarter, you know, or a block field goal in overtime for a touchdown, you know, or Lamar, you know, coming back on the field after we go from 4th and 1 to 4th and 5 and throwing a touchdown pass, you know. I mean, there's so many crazy games in that stadium over the last 20 years. So this goes into annals for sure, all those games.
I guess they gave it a name, you guys gave it a name, Hurricane, and not the tush push. But the trifecta of having Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, and of course Pat Ricard back, how instrumental was having Pat Ricard back in a situation like that and making Lamar kind of the decoy?
Well, I mean, just Pat, probably I would think of it more in the big picture, you know. I mean, he's instrumental in everything as far as the run game, you know, and he also play action and protection, and he's got passes too. You know, it's not like he can't catch passes. So yeah, he's part. That plays part of it. So yes, it's been a big deal having Pat back.
Well, I guess I'm saying having those three massive bodies right there, and Lamar as the decoy. I mean, going forward, that's something more you can work with, I would presume, and be more creative.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're all out there, and they're all out there together, you know, in certain plays. So it's definitely something that defenses have to contend with.
Hey, John, last week, Zach Orr said he thought in Minnesota was Travis Jones's best game of his career as a pass rusher. What have you seen from Jones over the last month or so to really elevate his game?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of notching it up. I think it's almost a little bit of, it's kind of like confidence. You know, I think with Travis, he's such a humble, hard-working guy, and sometimes you just want to stay home and say, hey, man, I did have him, like last year, I had him in the weight room, I kind of ran into him, and we were kind of talking, I said, come over here. We looked in the mirror, I'm standing there, you know, he's standing there, and I'm standing there. We look at each other in the mirror, you know, and I go, look at yourself. Look at yourself. Look how great you look, you know? You know, oh my gosh, you're gonna kill people, you're gonna dominate, you know. And, you know, sometimes it takes, he knows that, you know, he works so hard, but a little bit of belief in yourself goes a long way, and I think he's starting to really feel it, you know, that he can take over games a little bit.
John, obviously it's a small sample size, but 2 straight games in a row from Lamar, under 60% completion percentage, obviously 2 good defenses that he's gone against, but any just common denominators for some of these misses that he's been suffering these past 2 weeks?
No, winning games, you know, find a way to win the game, that's what counts. That's what matters, and I think Lamar did a great job both those games of playing that kind of winning football.
It looks like Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor's going to be a quarterback for the day. What do you remember from his time here?
I remember he's a great guy. You know, it's been a while now. How long has it been?
More than 10 years.
Was it 13? Yeah, 13 years. It's probably been like 10, 11 years, something like that.
So, run into him a couple times since then. You know, give him a big hug, and with much respect. I mean, what a career! He's a great pick for us. You know, he did a great job here. Really good guy, and much respect for what he's accomplished. I mean, he's been in the league a long time. He's always played well when he's played, and it'll be a dimension for us to have to deal with for sure, because he's a very good player.
John, Kyle Hamilton had a big impact in your pass rush yesterday, and just even when they had a guy accounting for him, he's usually able to pressure the quarterback. How rare is that kind of skill set from someone of his size and being a defensive back and so on?
Yeah, pretty rare. I mean, he made it really hard on the running backs, you know, just blocking. And then his length too, you know, batting balls down, those kind of things. It was really, he was just impactful. He always is, but he was super impactful the whole game, pretty much in every way he can be impactful. Yeah, he only had one bad play, that was really after the play. Yeah. So we'll have to talk about that.
Just to piggyback on that, he was, kind of all over the field, and his stat line bears that out. How much is moving him down as much as you guys have and stuff, changed or impacted, influenced what you want to do defensively?
Yeah, it's been big, it's been great, it's been great, you see it, I mean, it's been as much as you see it when you watch the game for sure. And also, we've run him back out too, he's gone deep, they don't really know where he's gonna show up. Zach and the guys on defense have done a great job with all of our players of moving them around, and having guys show up when they're not really expected to be a lot of times.
John, DeAndre Hopkins, that's not the first time that he's set you guys up for, or at least the offense, for a game-changing play this season. How much do you wish that he was able to get more involved earlier in the game, or is that just really hard because you got to spread the ball around with Lamar?
Yeah, I definitely want to get him involved. I mean, you want to get him involved. You want to get all the guys involved. So it's not really like one guy. I mean, as soon as you talk about one guy, then the next game you talk about the next guy. It's the same question, but it's just a different name, So that's part of it, But Hop is definitely a guy that you want to try to isolate and get him involved. Just because he's going to catch it. He's going to come up with it. That slant was a heck of a catch and huge, like you said, huge play in the game. I told him that. He wants more and more and more. He wants to, because that's who he is. And I just told him, I said, dude, you won the game. Keep Mitchell, the screen pass, that won the game. I mean, those are all game-winning plays that kind of go into the series of events. So I absolutely agree with that. Definitely want to get Hop as many touches as we possibly can. That's important.
John, I think just in general nowadays, people will focus on one or two clips of a certain offensive line, or in particular, like a group of offensive line. You guys obviously evaluate everything. Are you seeing the necessary progress that you want to see from that group as a whole going forward?
Yeah. I mean, is it more to the question, or is it just a general question like that?
It was a general question about, you've been asked almost every week about maybe potential changes there and why not. And I'm asking, are you seeing the progress where you don't think changes are necessary?
You put the best 5 players out there. The best 5 players that you have, the best of the guys, 5 guys who are playing the best. That's what you do. I mean, it's not even a hard answer, So the question is pretty much, put the best 5 players out there. They're playing pretty darn good. Can they play better? Sure. You evaluate play by play. Every single position, you evaluate play for play for play for play. And some plays are great, some plays are good. Some plays need to be better, you want them to be better, and try to improve on them. So that's how it goes with every position. So, and there's always going to be areas where, that from one game to the next can play better or whatever. So that's how it works. You put your team out there and you compete. That's what we've been doing. So all of our guys, including our offensive line, fight and compete and get after it. And that's what those guys are doing too. So none of our positions are perfect. And they're not perfect either, but they're trying to be. So we put our best group out there and we fight. That's what we do.
John, do you think that their continuity, and just how relatively healthy the group has been, has a kind of compound effect at this time of year, just with how much time on task they've been able to have those starting 5?
Yeah, I mean, that's important, especially for that position. It's a valuable thing.
Okay, go.
Great, thanks.